It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chilliefalls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to the Travel and Cruise Industry Podcast. Boy, we've got a woolly show today. It's going to be a folks. I'm going to tell you that right now. But anyway, welcome to today's show. This is December the 8th, coming to you from my studio in a snowy Forest, Virginia. It's again today. Matter of fact, my housekeeper probably is not going to come today. At least I don't expect her to come. But anyway, today's show is brought to you by Will U.S., the owner of Scoot Around, and by Chilliescruises. A synopsis of what's going to happen this morning. We're going to start off with Hot Tom talking about the Oceania Allura. We're going to talk to Nate about the MSC Grandiosa. That's where he is right now. Also, the Peraton named lead partner for the U.S. Air Traffic Control Modernization. An Ailing world cruise. The French Senate Greenlights cruise passenger tax. St. Maarten to protect cruisers. Theater complete. Park hits Tampa Bay. Carnival develop a destination in Ensenada. Falmouth reopens, and lots more. Especially a business story. Coming to you here at 11 o'clock this morning. Today, folks, is National Brownie Day. I'm always good for that. And this day in history, in 1936, the NAACP files a lawsuit to make the same amount of money as white teachers. Well, I sincerely hope that. But it took a lawsuit to get it that way. If you're listening via the podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is access.net. Or wherever you get your podcast from, just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and it pops the fact. Okay, so let's get on with the business of today's show. It's going to take a while to get it done, but first we're going to bring in Hot Air Tom, who was right outside a Shake Shack. Tell us where you are, Hot Air. Welcome back to the show.
Hello, everybody. I am in the Orlando MCO airport. Tried to find a sort of quiet spot, and we had an early lunch at the Shake Shack. Those burgers were calling me. Good one, yeah. So, and we had a root beer float. That's the drink.
That's one of my favorite burgers in the world. Is the Shake Shack.
And it tasted just as good as the ones in New York.
Well, I'm going to have to go there. So, all right, you and Cindy just got off of the Oceania Allura. You have been not exclusively, but primarily a Norwegian guy forever and always. I mean, you're a big poobah with Norwegian. You know, you got to wear gold underwear or some damn craziness in the loyalty program. And everybody bows, and, you know, when you get on the boat. That's cool. I'm all in favor of that.
I don't know.
So
I'm just a junior ambassador, though, that there's a girl that we met on the Latitude cruise, the first annual one 2 years ago, and she posted she was having her 60th cruise just on the Escape, and it got her enough points that she's like, I don't know, like triple ambassador. So that's like 2,100 nights. So nowhere close to that.
Yeah. All right. So you decided to try Oceania, and I followed pretty closely on the back you did on the Allura. Now it was a new ship. Tell me what you thought, what you liked and didn't like, and I want you to compare, because we know it's a little more expensive with the Oceania Give us an idea of value.
Well, the biggest value was when NCL decided to do their matching status at the end of September, because that really made what was a bit more expensive cruise into a cruise that was really a fairly good even up with Norwegian. Some of the perks from my ambassador level that carried over is they give you $1,250 onboard credit per cruise. Now, I screwed up. We didn't know that they were going to do that. If I booked a 19-day cruise, which was two smaller cruises together. So, like comparing it to the Grandiosa, I booked the 14-day. I don't know if you're booked on 2/7s or the 14th. But if I had booked it as two cruises, I would have got two $1,250 onboard credits instead of just one. They give me the free premier drink package for both Cindy and I. That's a humongous value. They gave me free gratuity service charge, and we got two $200 credits to the spa. So Cindy had a cut and a hair color, and I had a massage. So they were both $200 off those, and free laundry, unlimited. We sent in, I don't know, 4 or 5 bags of laundry, and they were always done the next day. And the laundry was in much better condition than I've ever seen in Norwegian. It came on hangers with one of the, like the dry cleaner clear plastic bags over it. And they had the small things like socks and underwear nicely folded and wrapped in a tissue paper in a little bundle that was in the return of they had fabric bags too to put the stuff in. So it was just very nice there. But the value, I'm trying to think how much that cruise was. I think it was roughly $1,000 a night.
Okay.
So by adding all those other things, there really wasn't anything that we needed to buy on the ship. That I ended up having a charge of $38.90. But we had bought 2 Oceania shirts because I like the logo shirts, and they were Aloha brand shirts, but they were like $100 a piece. And I thought that's an awful lot for a polo shirt. And I'd say the worst thing that I'd say about the ship is their central areas, and some of the restaurants were very cold. So early on, I went in looking for a sweater in the gift shop, and then came out with a sort of a light sweater type thing that I could wear in those cases, which helped. The ship itself is beautiful. That I think every ship I've been on has been nice, but the room itself was spacious, and between the carpet and it had it had a couch that pulled out as an extra bed, and it had basically a little table in front of the couch. And then it had a higher round table and a chair in the other corner that you could use for meals. And I used it for my work area. Plus, it had the usual desk and stuff. The only thing that was a little short in that cabin was storage space. And I gathered that had something to do with the being an accessible cabin. That I think the other cabins might have had a little bit more. But
more street, yeah.
The only weird thing was,
one of the things that really surprised me, the specialty restaurants on Oceania are included. Is that correct?
Yeah, and no charge. They let you book in advance, and the number of days in advance depends on which cabin level you are. So we were a concierge balcony cabin, and I was able to book, I think, 60 days ahead of time, and they tell you based on your number of days of the cruise how many reservations you could make, like one at each restaurant, or in our case, with having the 2 cruises, we were able to do total of 8 with 2 at each restaurant. And then Eli had given me a heads up that frequently you can get additional nights by going to the restaurant reservation the day of, and if you're willing to wait till later, like 8:30 or 9 o'clock, they can usually get you in. Well, I was surprised that we added 3 reservations like that, and they were much earlier than I expected. We got in at 6:30 and at 7. And Thanksgiving night, the main dining room line at like 6:35, it only opens at 6:30, was so long I couldn't see the end of it down the hallway through a couple of the bars. And I thought, well, let's go see what is available in Toscana. Toscana, I think, was my favorite. It was the Italian. And we were able to get in after a couple minutes of them, I guess, reviewing their schedule. And they had exactly the same Thanksgiving offering with turkey and filling and the other options. So it was very nice.
Yeah. Was it a problem? And what did you have to go through to get the loyalty level from Norwegian over to become Oceania?
Well, it was very easy. They had in both websites, on Norwegian side and Oceania, the email address where you needed to send your booking numbers, your latitude numbers from Norwegian, the ship and the sail date, and all that. The only thing that was scary was that it took a while for them to post it. I think what happened was that the response from the program was so overwhelming, they weren't prepared manpower-wise to deal with it. So it didn't actually get posted to our account until, I think, sometime around 15 days before the cruise. And they were promising it would be done by 10, which, you know, they met that. But initially, they were expecting it to be done like in 48 hours or 72 hours from when you sent the email. Now, the funny thing is, I understood that I was going to have to do the same thing for every future. Nothing would be automatic. But we booked a 2028 cruise on Marina, going from Miami to Panama City and then back again. So it's 2 legs. And actually, it was booked as 1, but we changed it to 2 after we found out, you know, the details of the status match. And it actually saved us $100 each by doing it as 2 smaller ones than the 1 bigger one, which was interesting. But those perks, however it happened through the system, got posted to the 2028 cruise already. And then while we were on the ship, we booked a neat pair of cruises, departs Boston, going to Montreal, and then Montreal to Miami. So we get off in Miami. And the neat thing is that the return cruise just stops in Bermuda on the way down the coast. And it has a number of smaller ports that I never heard of in Canada, which made it intriguing. So I'm going to have to disappoint Norwegian and cancel 2 cruises that we had out of Philadelphia on the Pearl, because it's the same time period. But I like these a lot better, plus the perks that and the funny thing is that cruise was actually more expensive than the Allura, which you think Allura is brand new, that it would be good, commanding top rates. So I'm not sure exactly what to make of that, but
all right, so if you were to give somebody advice, and somebody's considering an Oceania and somebody's considering a Norwegian, you advise them to go with Oceania now?
well, if they have any of the status match, because while I got $1,250 onboard credit, they give you onboard credit for lower tier levels too. So if you have any kind of status with Norwegian, it would certainly benefit you. Cindy whispered in my ear, tell them the stuff that was in our room. So we had a bottle of Prosecco, and it was on ice, and we had 3 bottles of red wine. And the 3 bottles, I think, were Cindy's a diamond Norwegian, so I think they matched her and gave her a bottle, and they gave me 2 bottles. And we didn't finish all the wine. We finished the last bottle of wine in the hotel yesterday, having some of your Ben's pizza that I went out for.
All right.
Was
So
there anything else?
overall,
Oh, yeah, we had 2 big boxes of chocolates that there's so much to eat on the ship. I only had 1 piece of chocolate. So, yeah, that's good. We'll save this for home when there isn't as much to eat. And there was a pretty plant there that lasted until the 27th, and the steward wanted permission if he could remove it. I said, okay. I was hoping.
Go ahead.
I was hoping maybe we'd get another plant when the new cruise started, but the GM switched. The old GM left, the new GM came on, and I don't know if he didn't see our name on the list. We got nothing from him. We had a nice meal with the GM and the cruise director and some of the other President's Circle cruisers in their privy dining room. And the privy dining room is this little segregated room that's between the Polo Grill and the Toscano. And they gave you both menus that you could order off either menu, and quite nice. And if you like lobster, I had a full lobster at Polo that was very good, and I had lobster thermidor at the French restaurant. I never had lobster thermidor before, so that was a little different.
Yeah. All right, I got one further question for you. And I know Cindy wouldn't know because I know Cindy stays on the boat. On the excursions, or when you were in port, did you have any tender ports, and did they allow wheelchairs off the ship at tender ports?
Well, we did. We had a lot of tender ports. And actually, the funny thing is, on the first leg, we were supposed to have 3, but we only had 1. So we ended up actually docking at 2 of them. But I did not see any wheelchairs. I think there was one rollator that I saw carried on. We want to say one thing about the tenders. The tenders were a step up from anything I've seen before. They had nice padded seats and backrests, and just the seating itself and the layout of it was more attractive to the eye than most of the tenders. We need to talk about some accessibility things. One of the things that surprised me, I'll start out with the good part. Every single public restroom had a wave at sensor to open the main door. There were no separate accessible restrooms. All the accessible were inside the regular. They'd have a couple stalls, and then they'd have an accessible stall. And the accessible stall had the same thing. You wave your hand in front of a sensor, and the door automatically opens.
Yeah.
Most of the venues had automatic doors, either that they sensed you or there was a sensor that you had to wave at. But the funny thing is, Cindy's favorite place was Baristas, that has the creperie and a bakery. It's all one sort of central area. And it just has a standard glass door that you need to pull. And, on a wheelchair, it's a little hard it's easier to push it if you're going that way. But I'm surprised they didn't put an automatic door on there. The same thing with the cabin door. There was lots of good stuff in the cabin for accessibility, but the darn door didn't open automatically like we were used to on most of the even 15-year-old Norwegian ships. And I left that in the comments for both those things. But Cindy loved hanging out on those almost every day, whether we're in port or not, in the Baristas. They usually had a quiche of the day in the bakery part, and a number of different things. And there was a couple different little sandwiches that you could get. And the creperie did, as you seen the pictures, crepes with all sorts of different toppings you could get, and waffles And then they had what they called a bubble waffle.
Fabulous.
The regular flat waffle was great. I didn't think too much of the bubble waffle. It was just I don't know if the batter was different or what. It just wasn't my cup of tea anyway.
I was telling you how flat it was going between rooms. It wasn't like the big bumps they had.
Oh, Cindy added one more thing that you know how we had problems with the joint bumps on some ships as you're going down the hallways. Allura either had beveled angled edges or smooth, that there wasn't a single spot where she had any trouble maneuvering the wheelchair.
Nice.
So that was certainly a plus.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll have more questions as we go along, Tom and Cindy. I'm glad you had a great cruise. I'm glad you're booking Oceanias now. I'm going to have to try to get there if I can start affording it.
Now, folks, I was trying to talk Chillie into going with me on one of the older, smaller Oceania ships to Alaska next summer, and he's not sure about his funds, so we're going to have to start a donation fund for him to try Oceania in Alaska.
All right, Tom. Thank you for your time today. It's always appreciated. And Cindy, we love you as always. All right, guys. I got to get on because I got a bunch more stuff to do today.
Let's hear the
All right, you guys have a great day and safe travels.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
All right, see you later. Let me see. Where am I? Here I am. Okay. And of course, Otter, Tom, Indy, they're on their way home back to snowy Virginia, unfortunately. All right, so the next thing on the agenda, you guys are off with Nate. This is my boss, my business partner. He travels between Alaska and Panama and Florida. He's on cruise all the time. He's been on this show about 1 million times. He's actually on the Grandiosa right now, which is the inaugural cruise in the U.S. They unfortunately had some difficulties and threw everything off schedule yesterday, so they didn't start off in the most enlightening way, but I'm sure these are things that will get fixed. So anyway, with no further ado, here's my buddy Nate.
Thanks, Chillie. Hey, everybody.
All right, so yesterday was the so-called inaugural U.S. Sailing of the Grandiosa, but things didn't go as well as planned. Tell us what happened yesterday.
So, Florida does get cold. We have, well, not we, I don't live there anymore, but, there's a variety of climates that happen, and they do get marine layers and pretty thick fog. And I guess the port had a lot of backups, and so the ship didn't actually get to make it in until about 8 o'clock. Should have been in at 5 a.m. So that's about a 3-hour delay. And then they then had to basically, because this was the first time the ship did a turn, meaning it completed a cruise and has to do a new one. Because the ship hadn't previously been in the United States, the Coast Guard and the CDC and others have to come on board and do a pretty thorough inspection. So this isn't like a, random, oh, hey, we're here kind of thing. So they knew originally that had everything gone to plan, two things were going to happen. First was boarding wasn't going to happen until noon. They didn't tell anybody that in advance. I only know because I have insiders at MSC. But the ship uses the same system as Virtuoso, which is presently doing Eastern Caribbean to Port-au-Prince and Bridgetown, but it's a different check-in system. And they have to, there's no way to test it in advance, I found out. So they literally have to get it off the ship, hook it up to the Wi-Fi, do some quick testing, and the plan was to have all that done before people showed up. But now that the ship was late, it pushed everything back. There's already people at the terminal. They're getting cranky. They can't get let in. It was not a fun time. And the communication, sadly, from the cruise lines isn't like it would get with, Delta or American or United, when there's a flight delay and you get a little ding on your phone. None of that was happening. No emails, no texts. The people outside are third party, and there's not really MSC management on hand, so there's no one to really convey to Mothership what was going on, what was being told to the American office in Fort Lauderdale. So I'm like, I haven't left yet. I'm fresh off Allura. We'll talk about that next. So I'm kind of hearing, hey, this is a backup. So I'm driving from Fort Lauderdale. So I already knew it's about a 3-hour drive, and I was going to leave at 10. And after I saw this mess happening, where everyone's like, we're in line at the terminal, they're not letting us in. We're seeing on Facebook how people aren't even getting off the ship yet. And I'm kind of in tune together. Like, this is a train wreck, a slow-moving train wreck happening. And again, MSC had no communication with guests. Hey, you might want to come a little bit later. There's no press release. We do see fog a lot in Tampa. And I know Carnival and Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, and Princess will say, hey, we're expecting bad weather. The ship's going to come in until noon. But they tell you that in advance. So this all happens so quickly, there's no time to do like a press release where hey, show up later. And it just snowballed. I guess some of the lines were about 3.5 hours deep. No one could check in, and the people were learning on the fly how to check. It's not a horrible difference, but when you're using a new system with the tablet versus the computer and all that stuff, there's a bit of a curve. So I don't think they even started checking people until about noon. So there were people outside in the heat with no water who waited a long time. I guess a couple of ambulances were called for people. I don't know how many. If you look at the Facebook group, someone said 20, another guy said he only saw 3. Guest services on board kind of has an idea, but again, there wasn't very good communication between shoreside ops and the ship. So I showed up. I took my time. I showed up at 3:30. I always cut it close, and there was still a line from Terminal 10. I think I may send one of those pictures. If not, you can edit this out. You'll edit this out, won't you?
Can, if you need me to.
Oh, yeah, put up if you can add the picture at some point. But the line from the terminal went all the way to the front, to the other end, and almost into the parking garage.
Oh, you didn't send me that picture.
Oh yeah, okay. Let me do that now. Oh, Chillie is bad. Not for the. So I was thinking of that one. Okay. All right. Well, that's a line in the terminal I just sent you.
I got the 2 nice pictures of Grandiosa, the foggy picture, and then the showing over to Nassau.
Okay. All right. Let me send you the line outside the terminal then.
Okay. So while you're doing that, you finally did get under sail.
Yeah, we did. Okay, I'll have to send this to you. I need to. Oh, I can just do it in here. Okay. Mike, why is it not letting me save the picture? It's like, because I'm not on a desktop. So yeah. People have calmed down finally. Last night, the ship is pretty dead, just because everyone was exhausted, and it's getting better. People are getting
How is the food?
Food's pretty good. Can't complain.
Okay.
All right, let me find a better picture. Oh, this is good. Okay, here's the other one.
Send them on Messenger.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All
I'll
right, so,
edit those in.
yeah, we'll get those in. Okay, so anyway, the terminal's not bad because you've got that long line outside anyway. Yacht Club and Diamond go to one side, everyone else is on the other. You go up the escalator, go through security. Those lines weren't too bad. They were taking everything out of your bags, including sodas, water, champagne. And check-in was just ridiculously long. And I think it just had to do with the fact that all the people got pushed back.
Yeah.
They couldn't find my booking. I just made Diamond on MSC, and my Seascape trip in October, I guess, pushed me over the top, and couldn't find my booking. So I sat there for an hour and a half. They tried to figure stuff out. Are you sure you're on the right sailing? Are you sure at the right date? Are you sure you got the right ship? And I'm like, I booked it. Yes. And it wasn't the best experience for me. Got on board, went to my cabin, and of course there's no key on the door. And yeah, that's the view outside. Just a lot of people not happy, nowhere to sit. They didn't have water for anyone. So when you board in Port Canaveral, you don't come into the beautiful lobby, or you're not put on the promenade, which you do. And on most ships, you get thrown right into the lobby on level 6, or the elevator lobbies. So they do kind of miss the boat there, where, if you're trying to show off a beautiful ship like this, you would at least maybe have them board in a beautiful section. Because I think in Brazil, we boarded on deck 7, which I'm on now, which is promenade, and you come into the atrium. And it's just a very lackluster, I don't know if MSC watches this, but or someone, but it's just a very lackluster boarding when you get on the ship, and there's like no.
Grandiosa is very similar to like Meraviglia, right?
Yeah, this is Meraviglia on steroids. So this is Meraviglia Part 2. So all the problems they had on Meraviglia, they fixed with this ship. And this is, I like the ship. I went on this ship in February in Brazil and had a wonderful time, except for partying till 3 in the morning every morning. So I guess it's a Brazilian thing. And really cheap spot. That was my favorite. $19 haircut and $35 mani-pedi.
Yeah.
But anyway, the ship's beautiful. It's got it's from 2019, so it's still very tech savvy. The rooms have all the power ports you need, both European and US. You have USB ports on both sides of your bed, which is nice. A couple more room controls than on other cruise lines. The beds are comfortable. Like I said, I'm freshly off Allura of the Seas, and I couldn't sleep at all. The bed was just rough. I kept falling into that crease between the two twins. So last night, and I'm in a standard balcony. I haven't even asked for a mattress pad yet. I slept like a baby. I know everyone has different things. I mean, the bed was a little bit rough, but it wasn't like on Royal. This one I couldn't feel the crease about it. The nice pillows and everything. I still think Princess and Celebrity have the best beds at sea. But they've got mattress pads. But here, it just everyone was grouchy yesterday and grumpy. Long lines at guest services, and me, I went to 3 different cabins with my luggage because I carry everything on. And mind you, I've got like candy for the crew and a Christmas tree and everything else. I was exhausted. I actually asked to get off the ship. I'm like, you know what? This isn't worth it. I just want to go home. Just after standing that long, not finding my booking, and then being assigned cabins that have people in them, I was just tired. And I even told the lady, man, I don't need to be on the cruise. I don't have to go on this cruise. I've been on this ship. Just let me off. But at that point, somehow mysteriously, a new room key appeared. So that one actually had a room key that worked, and the room is empty, or the cabin. So got in there, got unpacked, went to the Solos meeting, which was semi-hosted. Was here at Vallier Bistro Lounge, and then we had the LGBT meeting at the Horizon Bar, which is in the back, and the adults only pool area, and that was also hosted. So even though the cruise planner says it's not hosted, they're getting there. Gavin is the cruise director. I don't know if he's done Main American sailings. I've had him before, but I can't remember where. But he'll get there. And I'm pretty sure. But overall, we had a good solos turnout. Food has been pretty good. And other than that, but yeah, I'm just at a loss over what this diamond means, because I look on Facebook and Reddit and everyone's like, oh, diamond's fantastic, you get all these perks. I don't know what they are. I mean, there's nothing like cabin. No special treatment. I didn't get a crown and fireworks when I even made diamond. I would have thought they'd at least send me an email. Oh, congratulations, you made diamond.
Yeah.
It's not like Princess where I get in my cabin and massive.
Wait, or like even like Royal Caribbean where we get 5 drinks a day.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
I'd much rather all the cruise lines do that.
Even Norwegian, which I can't stand anymore. Norwegian is platinum. I at least have a booklet in my room with my coupons and come on board. Here's your schedule, and I even call guest services, and I'm like, so I've been gold for 3 years now, and I finally earned diamond. I'm like, what does this mean outside of that? And I'm like, well, when do I get my diamond? When's at least the diamond meeting? Oh, we haven't planned it yet. Okay, I mean, I'm used to seeing all that when I get my room, even as a gold. You have the little card. It's at my magnets, and I put it up on the wall to know, okay, meeting's here, that's there.
You got to do this day, this day. Yeah.
As a diamond now, and I didn't get status matched. I earned this the freaking hard way, and I don't mean to sound snooty, but I was expecting more. I was expecting to have like a hot welcome packet. Hey, welcome aboard.
Yeah.
My key card still says like unassigned dining. I don't know if that's normal. It just means I just go to any restaurant? But anyway.
I don't know. I haven't had an unassigned diamond on MSC.
Well, and again, I know a lot of you people probably not. I'll go read the comments when it's theirs. But like I said, we'll be in Ocean Key tomorrow, and I'll probably be in my hammock reading the book as long as it's not raining. But yeah, what's so great about this, people? I don't get it. Everyone, like the travel agent boards and Facebook, is full of, oh my God, I'm diamond. And okay.
Yeah. All right. So I got 2 questions for you.
Sure.
One, give me a quick synopsis of Allure.
Okay.
And secondly, if you would design an itinerary, tell me what your itinerary would be that would make you the happiest.
Okay.
And maybe on what ship you'd be on.
All right. Well, let's talk about Allure first. So I got yelled at by our sales rep at Royal Caribbean because I hadn't been on Royal Caribbean in 6 years. And I told him the truth. I don't have a filter on my mouth. And I said, look, you screw solos. It's like my partner and I don't share cabins. I know you've had like JJ on here cruises. I don't know how they sleep, but I hate it. I hate these twin beds. So when I cruise, you have to get your own cabin. When we're on Norwegian getaway, I had the Haven penthouse suite. Austin wanted to join me. And I'm like, no, get your own. He's like, go get your own cabin. He's like, but you have a king size bed. I'm like, then pay to get in. And when he had called, it was like a $5,000 charge to get a mattress in my cabin. And, he just got a balcony for, barely a fifth of that price. But no, Royal Caribbean Celebrity hate solo travelers because they claim they don't spend money. They make us pay 200 to 300% more. And even when I use my travel agent benefits, because through Travel Edge and Ensemble, we're top tier with them. We give them a lot of business every year. I think our sales between you and me were well over $500,000. And so my Carnival, not celebrity, Royal Caribbean rep is like, hey, I saw your Facebook. Why are you always on Princess and MSC? And I said, because we get solo deals. And like, I don't like sharing a cabin. And their travel agent deals when they do want us to get on board. It's for 2 people. So if you put in the thing for one, they have I get a list every week of cabins and cruises where they're open for free or severely discounted from our national accounts manager. And, you get a code. You have to apply for a certificate, just like the casino people do. And then you go to a website, put everything in. And every time I've done it, I get rejected because you got to have 2 people. I'm like, I'm not going to risk an interior cabin on deck 3 with someone else. Because when you're in a travel agent rate, you literally are the last cabin they assign. You're either going to end up lucky and get an upgrade, or going to be, the interior cabin under the galley, hearing all the noise every night. But as a travel agent, we can't complain. We are there to learn about the experience, try the product. So anyway, they got me on Allure, and I knew it was an older ship, but it was good. It was great to see the Royal Caribbean difference, especially since I have done Princess, Celebrity, and MSC this year, and I liked it. It's a very good, firm product, but I did see a lot of differences between Royal Caribbean and MSC, and I say this knowing that this was a 15-year-old ship. Yeah. So it just came out of dry dock. They added in the mason jar, a bar to the mason jar, which is beautiful. We spent most of our time there. The singers were great. The bartenders were fantastic. A lot of these guys have been there for, one guy I talked to, Ricky, has been with Royal Caribbean now for like 18 years. I met a couple from Fort Lauderdale who literally follow a bartender around. Her name is Effie from Dominica, and they love it. And so they go, oh, this is so beautiful, because they did a lot of sprucing up. It does look fresh. It does look brand new. So that, when you get on the Allure, you don't see that it's a 15-year-old ship. Where you do see it, though, is the cabins. We still had, want to pause it. I'll send you pictures to add later, but the cabins were just still the old original style. So tiny TV. My power outlet was just a 3-prong US thing. There's no USB outlets near the bed. It did have a nightlight in the bathroom, which I thought was nice. They did have bar soap for your hands. They now have the all-in-one bath wash, shampoo, and whatever. So it's all that one thing, and it's not 3, it's 1, and I hate that. So luckily, I bought some soap or my own bath wash and loofah. Again, it was comfortable, but the technology wasn't quite there. Not like I'm used on Princess and MSC, where you can really see everything on the app. You can do a lot with the app. The room I had, I'm used to like a do not disturb, look in my room thing. Didn't have any of that. The temperature was just a little knob. Again, I had an outside cabin, which is great. I love the window. It was nice and big. I was near the front of the ship. Probably one of the best ocean view cabins I've had, because I thought I would hear noise. I didn't. The dial thrusters weren't too annoying. The food was fantastic. The free food. Royal Caribbean, I think their buffet and their main dining was on par, if not better, than Princess. But the paid dining, that was a little challenging. I
found the same thing the last I was on Freedom last, and I found the same thing. I was not happy with specialty dining, but I was extremely happy with main dining the buffet.
Oh yeah, and the mason jar was our best meal, and I did 4 specialty dining. So again, the Americana feel was good. For the American crowd, American and Canadians, Royal Caribbean, they're good. Yeah, but you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay a premium for it. I was surprised by the number of people that weren't washing their hands. I was surprised that they didn't have more towel dispensers by the door to all the bathrooms. They did have a lot more buttons to open up doors for automatic, especially if you're in a wheelchair, because I did think about that. I'm like, crap, how does Chillie get around this thing? The solarium is great. They really were good about pushing kids out. However, when I would look at the pools and the hot tubs and see that it's like this grayish color, it's like, no, I'm not getting in that. There weren't too many lounge chair hogs, so I think people are starting to get better at that one. The elevator waits were about the same I've had on every ship. People complain about you'd XYZ ship. Oh, it takes forever. We had a couple lucky moments on Allure, but we had some where it took forever and a day. Probably the most disappointing thing, though, was how they handle their, two things, and it's food related. The buffet is really short, like 9 o'clock, they're done. I mean, they start closing that thing down at 8:30. Whereas on Princess and MSC, you still have something, even though they say it's closed, it's not. They'll have that transition area with like salads and sandwiches and pizza going until 1 or 2 in the morning. Whereas a Royal Caribbean, they push out. And again, that's okay. It's just a different product. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that maybe that's why their food quality is better, is because they have more controls over how long that's going to stay out there, how long is that tray going to be here. And they probably make less, so that way if something runs low, they then go and produce it, whereas a lot of these guys will keep it in a warmer or a cooler and just reheat it as they need it. The pizza at Sorrento's was better than I expected. We actually had 3 choices this time. And so you had your classic and pepperoni, and then a third that rotated. You can't go wrong with that. I love these pizza wars that everyone's like, oh, who's got the better pizza? It doesn't matter. I'm fat. Most of America's fat. Just feed us. But no, the pizza's good. I mean, I liked how they did it because they had 2 lines, so they had people moving quickly. They were literally pushing these pizzas out like an assembly line. It's better than I've seen on both Princess and even MSC with how they serve it. Now, the quality can be debatable. Like on this ship, I have yet to see the thin, traditional MSC pizza. It's all the thicker, like almost like pan pizza that we're getting now. Whereas the Seascape had like the thin, the thin crust. And then Divina, we had the pizza, like the little bistro where you can order pizzas right there to take out and go, which I thought was nice. And then Princess, they're sadly cost cutting. So when I started, and I guess they rolled this out fleet-wide. So when I started on Crown, the pizza by the pool, by the way, Royal Caribbean needs to learn this. You should put your pizza by the pool, not on deck 5.
Right.
Deck 15 is where the pools are, and you got to go all the way down to deck 5 to get pizza. But on Princess, their little pizza joint was open until midnight. And then when I got on board, the second day I noticed they changed it to 11. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. World Cruise, old people, geriatrics, they're not going to be doing pizza at night. No, wrong. They were. And then once we left Perth, I think this is like right around July, they moved it to 10 o'clock. And so I found out Princess had rolled that out fleet-wide, that they were no longer serving pizza that late. I guess because of the Alaska season, maybe everyone's in bed. I don't know. But I found out that it was, in fact, a fleet-wide decision, not just on our ship. So, at least on MSC, you can get pizza until 2 in the morning. As you can tell, I definitely need that. Royal Caribbean, Sorrento's, I think, was open till, and correct me if I'm wrong, 3 or 4 in the morning, I think. And then the International Cafe, or their cafe, which is like the Princess International Cafe, is across the way. So that's where you have, again, a nice selection. I do give Royal Caribbean credit for that. They had a nice selection of like some little pastas, some salads, little sandwiches that changed every day. And then their annoyingly addictive coconut cookies.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
God,
they're all. I agree with you.
So again, Allure was great. It was easy on, easy off. I mean, I'm panicking because one of our agents was with us, who's flying back to Tampa. He had a 9:30 flight out of Fort Lauderdale. And I'm like, girl, no way. No, you're not. There's no way we're going to make that, because every time we get on a big ship and we disembark in Fort Lauderdale, it's like I-95 near the Golden Glades intersection. Stop. You're not moving. Chillie, we were off the ship in 12 minutes.
Wow.
7:45, got in line, walked right off, no lines anywhere, and they had the stanchions out, so it's like the cavalry's coming. Walked in the terminal, and you could see them setting all the bags out, so I think they'd only cleared maybe a couple of the numbers. So maybe people are listening now, but I'm used to long lines, especially in the terminal. They then had at Terminal 10 in Fort Lauderdale, Terminal 18 in Fort Lauderdale. They had the customs biometric machines, and again, walk right through. And Josh called for a Lyft or an Uber, and we had a car in like 4 minutes.
Wow.
He made it to Fort Lauderdale in time for his flight. Well, I mean, actually, I think over an hour and a half early. So, yeah, and I remind this to your folks. We had carry-on bags. We don't trust them with luggage. I just, even on this ship, I'm here for a week, and I just have my 22-inch upright in my JanSport backpack, and that's it. Some people pack everything, and I don't.
All right, real quick, tell me about your itinerary, and then I got to get on with business.
All right, so if I were to pick a ship, I'm going to go with the Silhouette. Celebrity Silhouette's my favorite, and definitely Caribbean. So Ocean Key, definitely a favorite stop. We would do Belize and probably go down to Colon, Panama, and then we'll finish out with the ABCs because I like the Southern Caribbean. It's warmer, less chances of bad weather, and I think that would be it. I like going to Grand Turk. I have a lot of fun there, but yeah, I think that's
okay. Now I go along with yours. When I talked to Jordan from JJ Crew last week, his was northern, and I thought, wow, if I'm going on a cruise, I don't want to go, Canada, Iceland. Maybe I'd like it, but
I'm selling a lot of that chili. I've sold a couple of talc with Bonet, and I've sold a couple of Seaborns, especially the Iceland and Norway programs. But these are smaller ships, smaller destinations, and they're great. But for me, I want sun. Like I said, that's why I joke about Alaska. Like we're getting snow and rain right now, and it's like I'd just rather be down here when I'm on vacation. So yeah. But another question you didn't ask me is, what do I prefer better, Allura or World America, in terms of the mega ships? And, the problem is, when I look at Allura, it's an older ship. It was they ran with the concept. The entertainment was good, but if I had to choose between the two again, I'd only deal with World America because I love the infinity balconies. The ocean view cabins where the window goes up and down. I think that Royal Caribbean should have done a better dry dock or longer dry dock to update the cabins, because that was really disappointing to get on the ship and see smaller TV, no USB hookups in your room, especially since you can't bring extension cords and everything. Royal Caribbean has a great product. Entertainment was good. I love the ice show. I love the aqua show. Again, much different than MSC, where this is more elegant. As you look behind me, it's a different feel on board. And, when you're on MSC, you can either go cheap like Spirit Airlines if you want to be, just go on a cruise. You can upgrade and get a mid-level type thing, and we call United Airlines, extra comfort. And if you want to go high-end like Emirates, you got the Aqua. So that I appreciate with MSC because we have choices and we get to pick and choose what kind of avenue we want to go on. Whereas with Royal, just because they limit the solos, it's just so hard to get on there. And I wish they would change it. I wish they'd at least have a trigger like MSC does, where you only allow so many solos to book and then it gets cut off. But anyway, I know you got other stuff to do. But yeah,
have a good cruise.
Oh yeah,
and we'll get a report on Grandiosa after you've covered all of it.
Very good. All right, thanks, Joe.
All right, Nate.
See you guys.
Thanks a lot. See you next time. And then, of course, is Nate Vallier of the Alaska Travel Desk, my buddy, my partner, my friend, a whole bunch of them. So, all right, quick break from one of our network sponsors, and then I'm going to quickly get to the news. I'll be right back. All right, we're going to start off today on the news with this.
The U.S. Department of Transportation and Federal Aviation Administration have officially tapped Peraton as the prime integrator for the nation's air traffic control modernization program. The selection was announced December 5th and marks the start of a 3-year overhaul of core aviation technology, expected to be completed by the end of 2028. Transportation Secretary Sean P. Duffy said Peraton aligns with the administration's push for rapid innovation and safety upgrades, noting that the partnership aims to deliver a state-of-the-art air traffic control system for travelers and air traffic personnel. The modernization effort includes replacing aging radar systems, telecommunications networks, software platforms, and hardware to bring the national airspace infrastructure up to current standards. The project has received $12.5 billion in approved funding, with additional requests pending. According to the DOT, Peraton's contract includes performance-based incentives designed to reward on-time delivery and penalize delays, reinforcing taxpayer accountability. Airlines for America praised the announcement and expressed support for continued investment in aviation staffing and technology. The modernization initiative is positioned as a major acceleration of previous timelines, aiming to accomplish in 3 years what had been projected to take a decade. Guests sailing aboard AIDA Diva's New Year's World Cruise that departed Hamburg, Germany on Monday, November 10, have reported a norovirus to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, as is required for any ship sailing to U.S. ports. The outbreak has been confirmed on AIDA Divas during the 133-night World Cruise. Thus far, 101 cases have been reported out of the 2,647 guests and crew on board. This is the first AIDA Cruises outbreak in 2025, but the 16th norovirus outbreak overall. We've got exclusive discounts in Orlando and surrounding areas this holiday season. Save big on all mobility equipment rentals, including scooters, wheelchairs, power chairs, and rollators. This offer is valid for popular locations like Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, and more. Rentals in Orlando are 20% off when booked by December 31st, and 25% off if you pick up directly from our Scootaround location. Call Scootaround toll-free at 1-888-441-7575 or reserve online. Use SRN 11137. France is one step closer to implementing one of the most significant new taxes on cruise ships. On Monday, December 1st, the French Senate voted to approve an environmental tax of $18 per cruise passenger that would be charged for every single port call in France. This would likely result in skipped port calls and/or an uptick in pricing for European sailings. If passed into law, the tax is expected to generate approximately $87.4 million, which would be put toward protecting and enhancing France's coastlines. As many Caribbean destinations do, Philipsburg-St. Martin's economy relies heavily on tourism in order to stay afloat, much of which comes from the more than 1.5 million cruise guests that visit the port each year. But in order to keep the cruise lines coming back, it's important that passengers have a good experience while visiting St. Martin's capital. The Minister of Justice in Philipsburg has issued a new public order to protect cruisers from being harassed by local vendors. Vendors will now be fined $190 USD if they attempt to offer services without proper authorization. The order will be in effect from December 1st until April 30th, which coincides with the peak cruise season. The dreaded season of fog has hit Port Tampa Bay once again, as cruise lines are forced to devise alternative plans and adjust for delayed arrivals. Carnival Miracle guests have been notified about a possible fog-related delay on Sunday, December 7th. The cruise line will issue further updates to incoming guests on Sunday morning. This alert is on the same day 3 Royal Caribbean ships were delayed 8 hours returning to Tampa. Royal Caribbean Group has reached a key milestone in the construction of its new headquarters, Project Skyline, celebrating the completion of the building's steel structure. To mark the occasion, employees and Chairman and CEO Jason Liberty gathered for a topping-off ceremony, signing the final beam before it was placed into position. Throughout the event, team members explored historical exhibits and previewed the new space, highlighting how the company's legacy and future are coming together. Employees with decades of service, some with more than 40 years at the group, were especially recognized for their long-standing dedication. For many years, a stop in Ensenada, Mexico has often been seen as a necessity for West Coast cruises rather than a great port to explore. Despite having great natural attractions and a vibrant culture, it has often been regarded as the lonely cousin of Mexican ports of call. This is particularly true when compared to much more developed and popular ports of call like Cabo San Lucas and Cozumel. Carnival Cruise Line has announced Ensenada Bay Village as a new destination being developed. The $26 million project will include an adults-only beach, thrill park, and more. No opening date has been confirmed and construction is expected to take about 2 years. Caribbean Princess became the first cruise ship to dock in Falmouth, Jamaica following Hurricane Melissa. According to an update shared by the Port Authority of Jamaica, the Princess Cruises vessel arrived at the port for a transit call on December 2nd. Black Friday has come and gone, but we're offering festive deals throughout the holiday season. Save big on mobility scooters, power chairs, and accessories until December 15th. Order now to ensure your product arrives before Christmas. Use code December15 or SRN11137 to get 15% off scooters, power chairs, accessories from the Scootaround store. P&O Cruises Iona was delayed after 16 shipping containers containing bananas fell into the water in Southampton. The ship finally set sail on its 14-night voyage 1 day late. His Majesty's Coast Guard is still working on recovering all the missing bananas. For many years, a stop in Ensenada, Mexico.
All right, that puts an end to the news portion of today's show. And I've run over an hour, folks. So I'm not going to have the time to go through the chat room today. I'll try to save the chat room and we'll go through it on Wednesday. But as always, guys, thanks for being here. Long show. Sorry about the little donut in the middle there. I tried to edit out and it wouldn't let me. Nate's thing, so I just tried to flash up some pictures while he's trying to download it as we were going. Didn't work out as I'd hoped. All right, that's going to do it for today. As always, smash that thumbs up button. If you have not subscribed, please consider this as my invitation to do so. We do this Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Schedule might change a little to get back in time, but we'll see. Anyway, that now, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising. Hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Special thanks to Hot Air Tom and Cindy and to Nate for their time and efforts this morning. That's it for today, guys. I'll see you on Wednesday.